The following is a conversation with a gentleman who will remain unnamed, but is quite well known within the UFO community. Some of you may have actually seen some podcasts, interviews, live streams with him on, and his name is Bottled Water. Now, he is an ex-Army Staff Sergeant. Again, thank you so much for your service, sir. In addition to that, he spent about a year and a half at White Sands, New Mexico, and folks, let me tell you, I would dare to argue this is probably one of the best interviews, let alone conversations, Camden and I have had. We stress most respectfully to you folks to watch to the end. It's very good. We cover everything from diminished reality to deep underground military bases to certain intelligence operations. There are so many things that make you think in this conversation. We highly suggest you check this out. It's great. It's great. And I have to say, I mean, there were certain things that Mr. Bottled Water simply could not answer because of the, for many reasons, and justifiably and reasonably so, and understandably so. But Camden and I like to think we got as close as we could, without, crossing the line, and with Mr. Bottled Water being able to answer. You can find him on Twitter, at Bottled Water. And other than that, please check him out. Cheers. All right, welcome back, everybody. I do have to say that we have a very, very special guest with us today who's been quite prominent within the hashtag UFO Twitter community, but not just that, within the UFO community overall. Bottled Water, sir, thank you so much for coming on. How are you today?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
Great. Thank you so much for coming on. Yeah, thank you so much. So I was wondering if you could give people, the audience, a little bit of a background as to your history in the Army, where you were stationed, and things like this. Because for the record, for those who don't know, in your Twitter bio, you spent about a year and a half in White Sands, New Mexico. You also were flying training routines, if I'm not mistaken, on many different, what you said in your bio, the high seas, so to speak. And you've seen some very interesting things, and in your bio too, you said a lot of craft with an X on it, a lot of things with an X on it, rather.
Right.
But please, take it away.
Yeah. So I spent, really, it was the first 3 years I was in the Army. I was stationed at Fort Bliss, and I was in a experimental brigade. So everything we did was with experimental equipment, and we were actually supposed to deploy initially to Afghanistan, and then when they redesignated us, our brigade commander and our battalion commander jumped ship because they didn't want to deal with testing, and we got new leadership, and we ended up spending a lot of time in White Sands missile range. So out of 3 years I was there, I spent 19 months in White Sands and Donna Ana and McGregor range.
Wow.
Now,
Holy crap.
is there anything that I don't know, you might have, you signed up to do that, you got just selected? Like, how does that kind of thing just happen? You know what I mean?
I had a security clearance.
Okay. Yeah, I was just asking.
Okay, because there's been, again, I'm sure you know even better than us, certain, staff sergeants, you name it, colonels know more sometimes than the generals they report to, right? So,
yeah.
You
literally, in that brigade, you literally had to have a security clearance to be in that brigade.
Are you, respectfully, are you allowed to say what clearance that was, or no?
It was a secret.
Okay, got you.
And so there's secret SCI, which is a security clearance interim, and it's the same thing for a TC, for a top secret. You have TC, SCI, and an interim security clearance is like a you're not fully like vetted for that clearance. So mine was an actual secret security clearance, not an SCI. I had an actual full-on FBI background check with a legit secret security clearance.
Now, before we go on, if I may ask, does the term or the security clearance TK mean anything to you? Or can you not comment on that?
I've never heard of that.
TK clearance? Okay. I was just wondering because some veterans from give or take 15, 20 years ago have said that they had a TK clearance, which again has been unsubstantiated in a lot of ways, but was just curious. Now, Just curious, what did you guys mainly experiment on when you got to White Sands?
So most of it was network equipment. So
Okay.
it's communications and communicating between different platforms.
Right. And so was there any technology within just that division, or in that, I guess you could say, squad operation, you name it, that started to, maybe that you can't comment on publicly, but started to make you think like, okay, something is up here?
Um, Probably the one I can't comment on, and it has showed up in an Army commercial, a recruiting commercial. They did one before the cartoon ones.
Yeah.
Right.
They did one with the Rangers, the 75th Ranger Battalion, and they had a piece of technology that I saw, and I was like, oh, I saw that like 8 years ago.
Yeah.
But
Whoa.
it's not new.
Yeah,
The
totally,
things
right.
that they show you, it's not new.
How many? I mean, it could just be 8 years. We hear plenty of people say that they're 50 years ahead of the things they have publicly. If you had to guess or say or speculate, how far do you think that R&D really is ahead of what we, the public, get to see?
It's not 50 years.
Okay,
It's not 50 years, no?
totally. Yeah,
No.
no, I'm yeah.
It's not. So the government, what a lot of people don't realize is the government relies on private industry.
Yes.
Yes, yeah.
And
Your Lockheed's, your
yeah,
okay,
Lockheed, SpaceX, everybody else, they can only go so far as private industry allows.
right.
And you can throw all the money you want into DARPA with their dog and their backflipping robots, but they're just publicity stunts. That's all they are. I mean, that dog has been around since like 2004, 2005.
Mm-hmm.
And now they've got it doing dances.
Right.
Yeah. I see what you're saying in that regard. It's like it's kind of like you look at things and go, yeah, it's iffy in the
Is
sense
that
so
where you went with it? Really? That's where you decided to go? Yeah. Okay. No, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, so all that dancing stuff and like the backflips and stuff, that's all teaching it advanced terrain.
Right.
got you.
So
Okay.
that's what they're doing. They're teaching it how to climb mountains. They're teaching it how to handle streams and rivers and everything else. That's what they're doing.
Totally.
Right.
Yeah. No, that makes
Now,
sense.
just curious, when you were at White Sands, were you we'll get right down the rabbit hole if it's cool with you.
Yeah.
You see in your Twitter bio, you've seen a lot of things with an X on it, which a lot of people, I think the vast majority of our audience knows what that infers, or at least implies to be. Did you ever get, without, again, if you could comment to the fullest extent without giving up anything that you can't speak on, did you ever deal directly one-on-one with anything that had an X on it by chance?
Yes. So multiple pieces of equipment. One of them being the one that showed up in that Ranger commercial, and another one, my first sergeant in the last like year I was in the Army. She came up to me and she was like, "Hey, do you want to go to this demonstration?" And I was like, "Well, what are they demonstrating?" And she said, "Oh, a remote operated Humvee." And I was like, "No, I saw that like 7 years ago."
Right.
Whoa. So did you know at the time in White Sands you were dealing with, were you told, or did you just have a hunch you were dealing with stuff, 5 to 10 years ahead, roughly?
We knew what it was. We knew what we
Okay.
were dealing with.
Okay, got you. Was there anything? Oh, sorry, Camden.
No, well, now, of course, I mean, to speculate, there's Lieutenant Philip Corso says, we get these semiconductors, stealth technology from like the Roswell crash and things like
Integrated
that.
circuit, yeah.
Integrated circuit. Do you feel, and it might not be, do you feel that these things were beyond, you say they rely on private industry? Do you feel like private industry is helped to arrive at these products? You know what I'm saying?
Well, private industry gets money that you can't give to Army development. like military development. You can give it to private industry, and then they have their donors and everything else and how they make money. And they just have so much more money to develop things, and more people are going to go work for Raytheon who are physicists or whatever, propulsion physicists or you name it, then they're going to join the Army and be an officer, because they can do so much more working for Raytheon and get more out of it than working for the Army, or the Navy or Air Force or whoever.
I'm just going to be very blunt about this, and if you can comment, please. If not, then I totally understand. You ever been inside of an alleged deep underground military base to any extent?
No, but I've seen them.
So, well, that leads me immediately into a question. How do you see a deep underground military base without, being underground, right? What entrance makes you an entrance? What do you...
So the entrances, White Sands has a couple of them. Not going to get too deep into that.
Of course, yeah.
If you're ever there and you're in the military, you're doing an exercise, and you have an M4 with an ACOG on it, and you just look at the mountains, you can see them.
Okay.
And these are off limits to the public, this set of land?
Totally.
Yes.
Totally, yeah.
Gotcha. It makes sense. Now, in your opinion, would you say that the things that people have found on Google Earth, for example, would be an accurate representation? Not to say everything that people find, but the ones that seem like pretty common entry points.
They're close, but they're off.
Gotcha.
So I know specifically where one is absolutely at. And I've looked on Google Earth and you can't see it.
That's what I was about to get into. So it's because it does seem like a diminished reality that is very much not to like mislead us, but just to protect secrets.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
go ahead.
Yeah, and it's not that they're hiding like UFOs or anything down there. They're probably hiding. It's probably where they keep missiles for missile tests, and they just don't want people to know.
Well, if you had them above ground, it'd be pretty easy to spot. Of course, right?
Yeah, there's actually a rocket launch site that is hidden on Google Earth that I know is there because I stayed next to it for 2 weeks. And I went on Google Earth and I was looking at the area, and there's a way to tell when they're censoring something. And I was like looking at it and I was like, well, I know something's there because I've seen it with my own eyes.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and it's not there. And now it's Photoshop, and there's a way to tell.
Right.
I won't get into that.
Not a problem at all. Just 2 quick questions before I guess we get into the good stuff, so to speak. But I mean, we already have, to be honest, if you ask me. But are 2 questions about the D.U.M.Bs again. Do they call them D.U.M.Bs in the Army? And also, are accessing deep underground military bases in the Army more common than people like us, regular civilians, would think?
No. So a facility like that is very specific for certain training.
Right.
Okay.
And your average soldier isn't going in there at all.
Does your average soldier even know about the existence of these locations?
No. So it took me an hour, maybe an hour and a half, to figure out what the 3 categories for underground facilities were.
And I take it you can't comment on that.
Disclosable? No.
So a category 3 underground facility is greater than 20 meters, and that's about it. So it's greater than 20 meters, and it's big enough that it needs oxygen injection and everything.
Right.
Would you say these how can I say, these boring machines, if you want to call it, would be the mechanisms to tunnel through and create these, or could you not comment on that?
They've been there long before. They've been there for a very long time.
long before we seem to have even organized as humans. It seems what you're implying.
No, they've been there long before, like the boring machines and everything. Kind of like how NORAD is. NORAD's been around forever, and they're dug into the mountains.
Right, got you. Now, is it?
My immediate question. So you say a normal soldier is not going to go there. That's for very specific training. But if you're training in those kinds of places that you really an oxygen injection, you're 20 meters down. That training, where is that hypothetical training hypothetically executed? Do you get what I mean? Because you're not in a above ground place doing that training.
Right. Yeah. So as far as I know, the only units that are executing this training are special operations.
Okay. Gotcha. I figure there's some operations that are just strictly for subterranean warfare and things like that, I would imagine. So sorry, I didn't. Just to circle back quickly, do they call them D.U.M.Bs? Do your fellow soldiers call them that? No. Okay.
No. It's a Category 3 underground training facility.
And in your in your opinion, putting aside what you've seen in your time in the Army, do you think are you, I mean, of the opinion that there are massive complexes connected all over? In your opinion, not, I don't mean to make you, comment.
Not artificial. Not artificially.
Heard. Okay.
But there are several natural complex underground facilities. And you can see it if you look at, and anybody can Google this, if you Google North American cave systems.
Right.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Immediately builds me into, I mean, I don't think it's a conspiracy theory thing, but there's loads of people that like to speculate into hollow earth and things like that. And when you say natural, and that they were there long before, and does that build credibility into there's much below the surface of the earth than we are publicly made available to know?
Well, I think if you look at like there's a Native American mythology of the moon face people.
Right.
Yeah.
If anybody knows anything about that. Mm-hmm. And
you could tell our audience, absolutely.
Yeah. Sure. So the moon face people were white skinned. Mm-hmm. I think they were blonde haired, blue eyed, and they're around hundreds and hundreds of years ago before the pilgrims arrived.
Totally, yeah.
And they lived in the mountains of the Appalachia. And I think the legend goes that they only came out at night, which is why they were called the moon face people.
Yeah.
And then a couple groups banded together and killed all the moon face people. But they were basically cave dwellers. And the running acceptable theory is that they were Norwegians that came to America long ago and like settled in the Appalachia.
I just wanted to ask as well, Phil Schneider, have you heard of that individual?
No.
He came out in the mid to late 90s. He was, I believe, an engineer, if I'm not mistaken, of some kind, and he claimed that there were these deep underground military bases and things like that. And he said that White Sands had already a small base filled with gray aliens. I'm just going to be very blunt when I ask, did you ever hear any rumors of this? Not saying that, but did you hear rumors amongst gossip, things like that at White Sands?
No, nobody talked about anything like that. So I did spend time at a place called Space Harbor.
Okay.
Which is the tertiary landing zone for the space shuttle.
Okay.
Right.
And there was a building that we stopped at, and we were like, all right, we're going to stop here. There's some shade, whatever. And there were brand new cameras around it. It was like an old NASA building, but
Right.
it had brand new surveillance cameras around it. We were just like, yeah, let's go.
Yeah, well, that would immediately, you said tertiary for space shuttle, right?
Yeah.
Would any of those shuttles be non-jet propelled?
No, this was like the actual Columbus.
Oh no,
and,
I know, but as you just imply, new security cameras. These are things we don't know about. You know what I mean? You obviously, like in your bio, you say you've seen craft that just aren't explainable. Is the military, not that you've seen it or not, but is this something that they know is going on? Is this something? Yeah.
So what I think is they know that these craft exist.
Okay.
But when you get into like the TR-3B,
right,
and stuff like that, we don't have that. It's not ours.
and see that, I mean, because right, it's not America's, it's not okay, it's not Russia's, it's not China's, it's not. So if it's not humans, what is the internet assumptions that they are, that we're being lied to, that they totally have all these things, right?
So I have two running theories.
Okay.
One of my running theories is there's been 65 million years between when the dinosaurs were wiped out and now. Give or take a couple thousand years.
Sure.
But if you look at Chernobyl,
okay,
Chernobyl happened, what, 40 some odd years ago, whatever it was.
Right. Yep.
Chernobyl has been completely eaten up by the forest.
Yeah.
Right? So who's to say that something didn't evolve 4 million years ago on land?
Right.
We would have zero evidence.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Zero.
So with that being said, I figure let's jump into what you've seen and what you can speak about. Again, you have, it seems, many stories, but please start where you feel comfortable. You've seen some craft. If I don't mean to put words in your mouth, so if you'd like to go ahead.
So the best one is probably the one I saw in Kansas.
Okay.
Kansas,
and
right? Yeah.
It was I was watching a supercell, thunderstorm supercell, and I was just watching the lightning, and I was like, oh man, that's so cool. It's like 5 or 10 miles away or whatever. I was like, that's awesome. And then I saw a bright light. This ball of light comes moving across, and I was like, oh, what the hell is that? And I'm watching it, and then it moves into the supercell. So what's up?
Did it have an X on it? Were you able to decipher that? Or see that?
Ball of light, right? From the
oh, sorry, ball. I apologize.
Right. So it's
my bad.
It moved into the supercell, and my immediate question would be, did the supercell respond to it entering? You know what I mean? Or did it just disappear into it?
It kind of just disappeared into it.
Enter it. Okay, cool.
It was, and some people have brought up, well, could that be ball lightning? And I'm like, yeah, maybe.
But you seem to say it moved very like horizontally.
It moved horizontally alongside it, and then it just 90 degreed into it. And I was just like, wow, that's weird.
Is this all you can say, right?
Is this the Tic Tac that we were speaking about beforehand, or no, this is separate?
No, I think this is separate. So what I think is going on, and people in Kansas, what you have to understand, people in Kansas don't want to talk about this stuff.
Stigmata,
from
or
out of fear, out of told not to talk about it?
No, so you have a very religious community.
Right. Okay.
And then you have these things flying in the sky
that break that paradigm, and it's just
and
fit their mold.
Right. And they don't want to talk about it. And the day after we saw it, I was talking to somebody else, and he was like, this guy was just like, I'm telling you, they're messing around with our shit. And I was like, whoa.
As in our brains, as in our eyes, as in making
well, within our weather or everything
that
else.
builds it more into a harp kind of thing, right? Okay.
So I was like, oh, wait a minute. So you've seen these things before? And he was like, yeah, I've seen them before.
Are you in the Army at this time?
No, well, I was. Yes.
Okay.
So so one of the things I'm doing over the next several months is developing a base to start investigations there, because I think it's an untapped resource because the people don't want to talk about it.
Right, as I was about to say, yeah.
I would say I'd be more than glad to help use our platform to help you spread that message by all means.
Because you say, this man said, I think they're messing with our shit. Well, now let's back up. Who is they? Because we talk about, you said TR-3B, not ours. So is there HARP even, piggybacking off something else that has other motives and goals and things like
sorry brother, just very quickly, when you say the triangle craft are not ours, when you say ours, you mean American or human?
Human.
Yeah, no, that's what I think. That's what he thought. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
They're not. And the reason why is, and everybody likes, like politicians right now, and everybody likes to say, well, this could be Russian, they could be Chinese. The USSR collapsed in what, 89, 91?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So here's what a lot of people don't know. The F-22 program started in 1981.
Holy shit.
1981. The first prototype flew in, I think it was 1990. The first YF-22 flew against the YF-23 in 97. And then the first F-22 flew in 2007.
Holy crap.
Development, absolutely. Yeah, okay.
Right. So the Tic Tac, all this shit, it's not ours.
Right, like, because our technology is just not there. So would
you propose humbly that it would be compartmentalized extensively if it were to be ours by chance? Or even
if it was ours, the scary thing about it is, if it was ours, we were flying these things 70 years ago.
Right. Okay. So then, why are they only in 81 asking people? You guys are in 2000s. The radio tech. Why are they doing those tests then?
Yeah.
And so then, if those things existed so far back, okay, we didn't have that tech. The game of it's Russia, it's China, it could be, is that in and of itself, in your opinion, kind of like a drum up of military spending? They want to be able to make more things, right? They want to have more money. They want to justify it. So do you think they know? Totally not Russia. They ain't got that shit either, and they just want to justify.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they know it's not Russia.
Okay.
And they know it's not the Chinese. I mean, so a big problem the Chinese have right now with their airplanes is their homegrown engines.
Okay.
So their homegrown jet engines for their stealth fighter don't work.
Air show or last week or not, right? You know what I mean? They don't last.
Yeah. So the air show last week, that was the first one that used the Chinese built engine, because what they were using were Russian engines.
Okay.
And their Chinese built engines are like 15 years behind ours for the F-35 and the F-22.
Wow. Okay. So sorry, Camden, did you have anything else?
Go ahead. No, I'm pondering.
Any other interactions with UFOs while in the Army or out of the Army that you can speak on?
I saw one last year, and it was weird because it was like a big shiny silver object. And I posted a video on my YouTube completely unedited, raw video. And initially, if you watch the video and you look at the first one and the last one, the orientation of the craft goes from this to this in about 7 seconds, 7 or 10 seconds. It goes from a downward orientation to an upward orientation, and it's still accelerating and moving. The whole encounter was about 45 minutes.
Right. You got anything, Dave? I have a question.
Go, please.
Okay. So that just breaks our mold of physics, right?
Yeah.
And so, of course, a top secret clearance. You see these things in Kansas. People in Kansas don't talk about it. You then observe that one that does that orientation change. There seems to be a kind of like people that know about, or people that can perceive these things, are the people that they show up to.
So this is the thing.
Okay.
If more people, and this is what I am advocating.
Okay.
More people need to look up.
Right. Okay.
If more people looked up, and everybody has one of these,
right?
Yeah.
In their pockets. I'm telling you right now, I would rather look through, and if anybody who's listening who films something that they think is a UFO, contact me on Twitter. I would rather look at 100 videos of planes and satellites to get one video of a real UFO. And I will respectfully say, hey man, that's a plane, that's a satellite.
Yeah.
You have something.
Right. Got you. Is there something within your time at White Sands or in general that you cannot speak on that confirmed a lot of this for you? Your own personal presumptions per se, like.
So one of the times I was at White Sands, an asteroid was buzzing past Earth. So we spent like 2 days watching that come and go. And then we did see one UFO, and it was like moving across the sky, and it took a 90-degree and zoomed off, and we're just like, well, that's weird.
See, but you said that twice now. So I obviously point to the maybe like common ground, like just no one talks about, but everyone like has to secret nod it. You know what I mean?
You ever see these craft go in the direction of a underground base? Generally, if you can comment on that.
Not in the direction, probably in the opposite direction, really.
Okay.
Yeah.
Probably like coming in and going away from them. And that probably has to do with there's a lot of like microwave dishes and radio frequency dishes out there.
Yeah.
And just stuff for tracking things.
Yeah.
Yep.
That they probably come into the area and realize they're being tracked and just zoom off.
Got you. Would you, in your opinion, not experience, but in your opinion, looking back, would you say in White Sands you've come across an individual that seemed, I'm just going to say maybe off, non-human? Did you have any type of feeling? Like there have been some whistleblowers that say when they're in certain bases, there's a very ominous feeling. Did you get any of that you can comment on?
Well, White Sands is probably the weirdest place I've ever been.
And can you elaborate in what sense when you say weird?
It's weird in the fact that a lot of the public are like, Area 51, Area 51.
Right.
Well, that's great. The public knows about Area 51.
Exactly, right.
Yeah.
The public does not know about White Sands. They don't know about these other places. And they just go along when these defense bills are passed, and they're just like, oh yeah, I'm not going to read any of it because I'm going to not care because it doesn't affect me. But you don't know what's in those bills.
And so I would immediately, because that's not top secret clearance. So point to me something in one of those bills, you know?
So I can't remember if it's in the National Defense Authorization Act or in the Intelligence Authorization Act, but they talk about Category 3 underground training facilities, and nobody is talking about that. And I'm just like, why the fuck is nobody talking about this?
Right. Yeah, for subterranean warfare. I mean, I think I don't want to misquote it. I don't think it was The Verge. It was another military anyways, I think
It
it
was
was
probably Military Times.
right, talking about how that they're preparing soldiers to train underground and things
Yeah,
like
they
this.
spent
Yeah.
$500 million.
Yeah, exactly. Just curious, do you find that, in your opinion, looking back at your time in the army, as scary in a certain regard, or what sticks out to you in that sense that's like, holy shit?
So looking back, and they're saying like, oh, we're going to spend money on subterranean warfare. I'm like, why?
You're like,
Mm.
why?
We
Okay.
can drop a bomb in it and I don't have to go down there. Why do I care?
Well, yeah, no, I get you. My, devil's advocate here. You say the public knows about Area 51. There's these missile class 3 underground training facilities. See UFOs there. So is there something to do with these missiles and these UFOs that aren't of human origin, that, like, is that what they're interested in? Is that
So I think they're watching what we're doing.
uh-huh.
Is
And
that the feeling you get?
yeah, I think they really want to know what we're doing. And I have a friend who was in Iraq long time ago, like 2004, 2005, and he was telling me about how he was a gunner on a truck and a UFO was following them, and like it was stopping when they stopped and took off when they took off, but they didn't do anything about it because at that point
They
in time,
said, huh, that's weird, right? It sounds like.
Yeah.
Did he describe the shape of it to you?
Just that it was round. With NVGs, it's kind of hard to see stuff far away.
Sure, yeah, okay. A lot of people point to videos of white Tic Tacs, silver discs. You talked about one that changed this way. So I get Tic Tacs. Anything about those?
I think I think it's probably a probe.
Okay. I hear you. I get what you're saying.
Most likely, I mean,
we work with drone technology, right?
Yeah. It exhibited intelligence when Fravor came in and the Tic Tac pointed right at him and followed him on his descent and then took off. So I want to say they're more data collection devices.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
I could see that, going back to a mothership and what have you. I'm going to be, again, respectfully but very blunt about this. Have you had any conversations off the record with or any military, army personnel or contractor personnel that have confirmed some thoughts to you in your own mind?
So I try to.
Right.
And I have friends who have top secret security clearances who work in the intelligence community, and I try to coax it out of them.
It doesn't work?
It doesn't work.
Well, I'm glad they're good at their job, I guess.
Oh, they're really good. Yeah. These people are actually scary. They scare me.
When you I know this is going to sound a little bit corny for some, maybe not so much as for others, but if you, again, granted, being that they're friends of yours, when you speak to them in person, do their eyes tell you different than what their mouth is saying?
No, it's more the tone.
So if you were to ask,
so like your tone right now?
No, so like,
okay, I'm just kidding.
Like if I'm starting to get that a lot, but their tone will, like, we'll be talking about whatever, and then I'll ask them, and they'll be like, dude, come on.
that
you know we can't. I'm like, all right, so what do you want to talk about?
Gotcha.
Well,
so I pry, but it's
right. Is it sort of similar to how, again, respectfully, we're trying to pry with yourself? I mean, obviously you wanted to come on, and we appreciate that, but you got to watch your words in some things. I'm noticing.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And these are people I've known for like 6 or 7 years.
Okay.
And like it took me like 5 years to get one dude's phone number.
Wow.
And like,
funny.
Yeah, if I go to that subject, he's like, dude, I can't.
Do you think some of these individuals, in your personal opinion, know of the existence of not just UFOs but their inhabitants?
I think they know better than to pry.
They know to say that's weird.
Yeah, because one of them is a human intelligence gatherer.
Okay.
And he is scary. Like if I told you the things that he actually does,
if you want to.
Well, back in August, when Afghanistan was going down, right. I sent him a text message and I was like, dude, are you in Afghanistan? And he goes, no. And I was like, thank God.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Because he was supposed to go to Afghanistan. And I was like, are you over there right now?
Yeah.
And he's like,
right.
No, I'm not, but I'm hoping I can soon. And I'm like, dude, no, what are you talking about?
Interesting.
Yeah.
I'll use my own personal anecdotes then even on that. Because he said he hopes he can soon. I live near Fort Benning.
Okay.
And I know people that came back from Kabul. And you get drunk at a pool hall and you people sort of talk. I mean, they're talking shit, and it's not like it's top secret clearance or anything, but they're like, bro, I give Biden like a month in office. And then like that C-17 on the runway where everyone's just climbing on it, strangely happy.
Mm-hmm.
Dude straight up says that didn't happen at Kabul airport. And these very declaratory statements that seem to insinuate so much more is going on and actually not even happening. So when he says, I hope I can go soon, why would you think that is?
So I know what you're talking about the there were a few pictures of the C-130 or the C-17 Galaxy at Kabul. It's a C-17. I don't know why I said C-130. But it's a C-17. And there were a few pictures on social media that were like, oh, this isn't even the same plane.
Oh, it's like markings, but they're there. That's
it's like the same plane.
Right, it's the same plane. But he was telling me that's a real plane. That's the trick, but that didn't happen at Kabul airport, is what he was saying. And that was strange to me.
So it actually did.
Interesting.
It absolutely happened at Kabul.
Okay, I'm not arguing.
In your opinion, do you think this was the intelligence community taking advantage of Biden's incompetency to stay there by doing that?
So what I think happened was so they vastly overestimated what they were capable of.
Okay.
So, and here's what a lot of people don't understand. You have, what was it, like 3,500 troops or 5,200 troops, like when everybody got there.
Yep.
At an airport.
Yeah, think about that. No, literally, that is just an airport with,
Yeah, it's an airport. It's like a mile long.
Right.
By like half a mile wide.
Yeah.
Right.
And you have thousands of people there, but they showed up too late, and you have all these Afghanis there, and they absolutely will grab onto a plane to try to get out. And they're all, and what really pisses me off is they're all military-aged men. Like, stand up for your own country.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I get you.
Right.
That is interesting. Yeah.
I don't mean to suddenly change the topic.
I'm just we should.
No, go ahead.
I'm just curious about is there any equipment that you've worked with or seen, maybe not just at White Sands, but in general, that either had an X on it or that you personally handled that you, maybe looking back now, you thought this may not have solely been the work of human engineering by chance? Again, I know you have to watch your words and everything,
Yeah.
but
One thing I really
say it was
question.
weird.
Yeah,
I like that answer right now.
Yeah. One thing I really question is the way we communicate on radio waves.
Okay. I've
could
been
you
digging into a
elaborate by
lot of what
chance or
waves
no?
really are recently, so I hear you.
So, I mean, think about it. We went from the telegram to the telephone to radio waves, all within like 40 years.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's crazy the way that we have just advanced technologically over the last 121 years.
Yeah, it's really,
Yes.
I mean, it's exponential.
Have you seen any equipment? Again, this might be a little too much of a blunt question, but you see any equipment that can go invisible to the human eye?
No, but you can hide people effectively with the right camouflage so that you can't see somebody. Little anecdotal story here. I was 5 feet away from 4 soldiers and they didn't know I was there. And I was literally standing there smoking a cigarette.
And
when you say camouflage, is this technological?
No, this was just literally camouflage.
Well, that's what I'm about to get into, because it gets back to that almost Google Earth diminished reality kind of thing. Is this camouflage working on you to make you not seen, or is it on you working on them to make them not see you?
To make them not see me. I was looking at my phone, smoking a cigarette. They were looking for a point, and I'm just sitting there going, "Oh, you idiots!"
Oh my God!
Right here, but they had no idea I was there.
Anything you have that you've seen at White Sands that may have been invisible that you just thought, for a second, but didn't think much of it? In the skies or anything like this? Maybe not. Yeah, maybe a wave of some type, or
no. There's a lot of horses there, and F-22s, wild horses. There's actually wild horses out there.
That's interesting. Yeah, that's why I said, I mean, this invisibility text really got me stuck. So because
wait, sorry, 1 second. Sorry, did the horses happen to decrease in numbers slowly over time, if you happen to notice?
No, but they walked around with their wings out. the Mustangs did, the males. It was mating season.
Is it? No. Yeah. Just, the reason, to be very, very blunt, the reason I asked that is because allegedly not only cows but horses have been mutilated in very precise ways that seemingly humans cannot do. I was wondering if there was some type of affiliation.
So cattle mutilation is very interesting to me, especially since I'm going to an area with a lot of cattle.
Right.
And I'm trying to get these contacts with these cattle farmers in these ranches. So where, like, if they have something weird that happens, like, call me, I want to come in. I've got contacts where if something's weird, I can message somebody, and you won't have, your name will be nowhere near on it, and I'll take the brunt of it and we'll move it to a secure facility.
Yeah.
So
I mean, so you talked about that invisibility tech, but all the meanwhile, it sounds a lot like Eric Bledsoe is a person that points to this. The military, the intelligence community, they know that like shit's up, but they really don't know, even as much as they like for us to believe. They're kind of trying to find out things just as much as we are.
Right.
Do you think that's really the game afoot?
Yeah, they don't know what they don't know.
Exactly. Right. Okay.
When you, if I presume you're familiar with the alleged Majestic 12 documents and all that. When you look at that, do you see bullshit? Do you see legitimacy? You see a bit of both?
A little bit of both.
Got you. Makes sense.
So, so I read the MJ12 documents and I was like, if I was like just in a mood, I could write this shit up myself.
Right. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Okay. Because I mean, there's things, come out in the Freedom of Information Act. They're like, how is this not just damning evidence of like, what the fuck? And but then you read some comments or something, and someone will say like, if I was the CIA, I would totally just put this out just to confuse people, right?
Right.
So in that breath, I mean, are they doing a disservice, not just to themselves, but to the public by like not even being upfront about what they don't know?
No, so and I think Lou Elizondo brought this up. Somebody mentioned Zodiac to him.
And MJ12, yeah.
So Zodiac, from what I understand, is the new designation of MJ12 because there's 12 signs of the Zodiac.
Zodiac, yeah.
He said he can't comment on that, and then asked about Collins Elite, and he said that he will comment on that. He knows a few people that believe that. Can you, from personal experience, maybe not comment, but say any, like, substantiate that in a way? Like, yeah, you're pretty sure there's guys like that in there?
I'm pretty sure, yeah, there's gotta be. This isn't something that's new, and this is
right.
what the UFO
exactly
community,
what you seem to be saying.
Yeah, the UFO community needs to understand, especially a lot of the new people who are in this.
Right.
This isn't new. This has been around for 70 plus years. From what we know, it's probably been around longer than that.
Right.
But when you talk about MJ12, and then you have Lou Elizondo saying, "Well, I'm not going to talk about that," and Zodiac's a thing, and there's 12 signs to the Zodiac.
Like,
I mean, this isn't a guy who's fucking around.
Right.
Yeah.
He's a counterintelligence agent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I almost reclassed into counterintelligence, but somebody came up to me and they were like, "You do realize counterintelligence is right?" And I was like, "Well, what?" And they were like, what are the first 3 letters? And I said, CIA. They go, "Yeah." And I was like, "Yeah, I don't want to deal with that shit."
Interesting. Now, do you what's your take on Mr. Elizondo overall? You think a little bit of BS, a little bit of truth? Controlled opposition of some sort?
No, so I think he's a good guy.
I think he's telling his truth, kind of thing.
I think he's telling what he can tell
without crossing the line.
Without crossing the line, because he knows. Yeah. So, what you have to understand about counterintelligence agents with the Army is they don't wear the Army uniform.
Right.
They get a civilian clothing allowance. They wear civilian clothes. They show up and they're like, "Hey, Steve. Hey, Kevin. How's it going?" They don't go, "Hey, Sergeant. Hey, Lieutenant." Yeah. They don't do that shit. It's a totally different world.
Could this explain why many people, when Lou Elizondo first started going on Tucker Carlson, what have you, a lot of people said he's a con man because we never heard of him? And then a lot of people also said, you got to understand the way that counter-military intelligence also works too.
Yeah, because a lot of people don't realize how that works.
And
the reason why I believe Lou Elizondo is because of my friends in the intelligence community. And the things that they do. And I'm like, hey, like every now and then I'll be like, "Hey, what what do counterintelligence agents do? They're like, oh man, you should have done that. Yeah, man, you would have had so much fun. And I'm like, well, what do they do? And they're like, oh, you would have been to my course and I would have taught you this. And I'm like, holy shit.
Right.
Before I think Camden might want to ask some more about the bases, diminished reality and stuff, but could you describe, or to the best of your ability with what you're allowed to say, some more equipment with an X on it that you've seen or dealt with, either or?
One of them, so the Army actually just announced this, a new mobile artillery unit.
Oh, I saw. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I saw that in 2011.
Oh, see, okay, shit. So my question would be then, like, in 2011, you saw this.
Yeah.
Has anything changed about it since they have announced it now? Has anything improved? Like, what is the waiting game in these things?
So that's the thing. I was trying to look into the system to see how it was made and how the system works. But from what I can find online, I'll have to go into my Army stuff. I'll have to use my stuff that I have to look into it. But
right, yeah, fair enough.
But I'm pretty sure from what I've seen, it's the same exact vehicle I saw like 10 years ago.
So is it just to not let's, in case we go to a hot war, no one knows that we could pull all this out before, like, you know what I mean? Is that the only reason for the wait?
No, I think so testing takes a really long time.
Okay.
And the Paladin itself has been around since like the Korean War.
Right.
I mean, the Paladin still has areas for a law, which is a rocket launcher for light armored vehicles.
Yeah.
That's still in current Paladins. Now the new one, if it is the one that we worked on, does have some drawbacks, but yeah, I'm not going to get into that.
But no problem at all. Fair. Right. Do you know anyone or know people that know individuals that were familiar with the ATIP people?
Not with ATIP.
Okay.
With another department that observed or was responsible for collecting data pertaining to UFOs and other anomalies?
If they did, they didn't know about it.
Okay.
That's what I seem to be grasping. It's not even that the compartmentalization is on purpose. It's that a lot of people in the military and the intelligence communities know to compartmentalize themselves.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So I'll tell you this. Okay. So in that Army recruiting video, one of the Rangers has a screen on his body armor that he flips down and looks at.
Okay.
And he's like, okay, we're right here. Flips it back up and they go. We were playing around with those in 2011.
Yes. Okay.
Again, go
ahead.
And what it is it's a GPS unit. I'll say as much as I can from remembering the video. It's a GPS unit that connects to drones that lets you see everything around you.
The sonar, all that?
Yeah.
So you literally get the Predator drone's eye view over you, so you can see somebody
however far away it can see.
Are there different forms of vision other than sonar, night vision, and all that the public doesn't know about, that you guys have been working with?
So we use IR. Night vision is like our biggest thing. We really don't like using flares because it makes it too bright.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
But is there? I don't mean any disrespect by asking this, but is there anything that you cannot comment on in terms of vision apparatuses that?
Not even vision, but visibility apparatuses.
Just curious, you saying even yes, does that make things tough for you?
I mean, so I can sort of tell you this story. So me and my TC, my truck commander, were sitting about 50 or 60 feet away from the road, and I had my goggles on, and I saw this dude walking along the road out in an area where there should not be somebody walking around the road.
Okay.
Sorry, could you specify the general location of this or no?
Near White Sands.
Okay.
So it was probably a illegal border jumper.
Okay.
Sure.
And I'm looking at him and I go, do you want to mess with this guy? He had no idea we were there.
Wow.
My trucks.
Referring back to the I'm smoking a cigarette 5 feet away from these guys, kind of.
No, we were like, we're several.
Okay, cool.
30 or 40 feet away, whatever it was.
Okay.
So what I do is I take my blank adapter off my M4 and I slap a magazine in there and I throw on all the lights and I jump out and I'm like, what are you doing out here? What are you doing? And he's like, no habla, no habla. And I'm like, what are you doing out here? And he just runs off in the distance. And I was like, oh, that was fun. I jump back in the truck and my buddy's like, where did he go? Because I shut all the lights off and he's like, where did he go? And I was like, I don't know, across the street. And he goes, isn't that an impact zone? And I go, oh shit. Yeah. Oh well.
Oh,
I mean, yeah.
Oh man.
There seems a not a desensitizing, but there's a lot bigger things at play than people crossing borders than that.
Yeah.
So when you talk to your friends in the intelligence community and they say, dude, I can't, maybe it's because they don't know, so they can't tell you, but the supposed in this, I'm extrapolating what you're not saying could mean. Is there a relationship going on between the United States, the Chinese, the Russian, with other things, or is there we just can't even get a hold of them and we keep trying to figure things out about them?
I think they try to communicate.
Okay.
But it's like dolphins talking to us.
Right. We can't perceive what we can't perceive. We don't know what we don't know. Yeah.
Would someone, and I'm trying to phrase this appropriately to help you, would someone in your position, hypothetically, with your clearance, see things that one could not speak on whatsoever and be sworn to secrecy on? I mean, I don't mean to. No problem. I don't mean to put you on the spot. I'm trying to ask it in a way that, again, not you, and any individual with a clearance that you held or still hold, would they be, again, we hear, and I what I'm trying to get at is this: we hear pilots see stories, speculative stories though, of UFOs coming right next to the jet. Like right there, and they get it on their phone or what have you, and that's like door shut, classified, don't even fucking try and get it out there, right? Would someone with your clearance, maybe not that situation specifically, but have to just respond with a no comment in general?
If somebody with a secret clearance saw a top secret document or wandered into a top secret area and saw something that they weren't supposed to see and talked, they would not have a great life.
Okay. Would you say, I don't know, are you familiar with Bob Lazar's story generally, the way they allegedly,
all of it?
Now, do you subscribe to that, or you think he's a bullshitter, a bit of both? I mean, because the way they'd mess with him, call him 2, 3 in the
Right.
morning, allegedly, motherfucker, we're gonna kill you, like literally like that, then just hang up. Would those be some tactics?
I think Bob Lazar is probably the best example of what happens if back then you came out and you went directly to the media and you were like, this is everything I know. And then, oh, this is who I am. So they can't off you.
Yeah,
Right.
because that's apparent that they're doing it now. Yeah.
Yeah, because if you die under mysterious circumstances, I mean,
That's pretty case in point. At that
Yeah.
point. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
Bob Lazar is not going to Clinton himself.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Oh, Bob Lazar shot himself in the back of the head once with a fucking 9mm. Yeah, that's not happening.
Right.
Or in the chest, because we all know how much people who want to commit suicide love their wrist to go like this. Well,
Yeah. I'm gonna shoot myself in the chest. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so the way that, I mean, yeah, that's the best way to probably do it. But you hear these stories. We have a Patreon member that has been corroborated with other. So there's times in the army and the military where you talked about counterintelligence agents not wearing fatigues. There's times where they ask you, not you, but ask a person in fatigues to remove their patches, and then even if you have a top secret clearance, sign another thing, another contract. Is that something that happens more than the public might really even want to accept? Is that you know what I'm getting at?
Well, yeah. So Special Forces does things that you don't want to know about. And you don't want to know about it because that is why you sleep at night.
Right. Yeah.
You don't want to know what those people do.
Well, like when you said, for example, with your friend who's in the intelligence community, some of the things he's told you, I bet you if you were given permission to tell that to the masses, the vast majority of them would not sleep.
No, they wouldn't.
That's
because of the things that they are doing. Or okay, yeah, this best way to ask it, or like we'll call it atrocities, but I mean it. Yeah, we'll call atrocities against other humans. They're dealing with something otherworldly that is incomprehensible, and it will shatter your worldview. What makes you not able to sleep at night about it?
Well, for instance, I sleep next to a 9mm loaded with rounds that are illegal in most states. And next to that is an AR-15.
Absolutely.
Okay. I
have dreams every now and again where I'm just like, I'll wake up and I'll look.
Grab it. Right.
Yeah.
Shit.
So like if I'm on a podcast and I think I've said too much, I'll wake up in the middle of the night with my 9 or my AR in my hand.
Would this be I'm genuinely asking, would this be one of them, or you think you're okay?
No, I think I'm good.
Okay, I got you.
Rats.
Are there would you I have no other way of saying this. Are you somewhat aware of certain things that could deter the traditional weapons, like guns that are sold to the American public?
Or even nukes?
Yeah, well,
anything that could literally just make our arsenal of weaponry at all scales obsolete and useless.
Doesn't have to be alien per se. I mean, just
So no, kinetic weapons are great because they hit things.
Right.
Hell yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And I think what we have in America is a unique ability to arm ourselves.
Right.
Yes.
with several different types of weapons, with several different types of ammunitions. And as long as we're able to do that, and you can go back to World War II, where the Japanese didn't invade America because there was a gun behind every blade of grass.
Yeah.
And you can look at Nazi Germany, where they said the thing about American, what did they say? American war regulations or whatever it is none of the soldiers know what the regulations are.
So they don't, they don't stick to the rules. You can't, absolutely.
Yeah, they fight.
Yeah. So you worry, you say too much on a podcast and you end up waking up at night. There's a fear there, obviously, right? That's what you mean. Fear from we'll go with the conspiracy world's terms. Fear from a deep state, fear from an extraterrestrial coming to abduct you. Fear, like what is that fear? Who are you scared of telling too much as secrets? You know what I mean?
No, I don't think aliens are going to come in,
right,
and be like, you've said too much, because they'll catch a hollow point in the face.
Right.
And I'll just be like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to get this on film and put it on Twitter.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah.
Now I have proof.
Right.
Here's a dead ET. I shot the little shit in the face.
So
but it's more of a government thing. Like and I posted a shit ton of anti-ATF memes.
Oh
yeah,
shit.
okay. I get ATF to be
so,
that we should be worried about.
Yeah. So I have a dog downstairs, and she's got free roam. And when that dog barks, I grab the gun and I'm just like,
right.
Absolutely, I hear you.
Yeah. And my wife grabs a shotgun, and we're not going down.
Right. No, 100%. It is I wanted to jump back very quickly, if it's cool with you, to the alleged deep underground military bases. Is there anything else you can tell us about that, in terms of aside from the underground training? Are there any individuals you may have been in contact with that have gone to some of the lower levels or anything like this that you could comment on? And if you can't, I guess just say no comment, I guess.
No, but I think what you're getting at is the Denver airport.
A bit of honestly, brother, a little bit of everything, in terms of your take on it relative to what you've seen as well, like what you know and see. Yeah.
So in a lot of this really comes from the theories behind the Denver airport, because that airport didn't need to be built to begin with.
Yeah.
Right.
And then you have all these weird fucking paintings everywhere.
Signs too,
It's meant to confuse you, or meant to just tell you the truth, so you think that the truth is just so ridiculous it can't be.
Yeah, with the weird Satan's horse outside of it, and
with signs saying we're building bases for the lizard people. Like literally, it says that on the signs. Like,
it's weird, right?
Yeah.
And then they did all this underground stuff underneath it. And at the time it was like, oh, Obama's building this underground base. And then, so one thing that I really take like with a huge grain of salt is these people who are like, I was a Marine and I fought aliens under the Denver airport.
Okay. Right, and cool. Just curious, why do you take it with a grain of salt? And I'm actually asking because there's been people, they go on Reddit, they go this and that, and why do you, in your perspective?
Yeah, because and this goes with the secret space program. There's no fucking way in hell this shit would not have come out, because you can't have a unit like that, right? With it would involve lower enlisted. Even if you had senior enlisted or senior officers, somebody's gonna lose their
yeah.
shit.
Yeah.
So when you see, for example, individuals like Colonel Philip Corso, what do you make of guys like that from the old days that, you know, with all these things that sound like they're out of a sci-fi film, you know?
Well,
I'm not, by the way, I'm not trying to get you, I'm not trying to play gotcha
right.
or whatever. I'm just genuinely asking your take on it because I agree
Right.
with
it goes back to Stephen Greer, where he said he had the one person on there who was like, they're going to talk about communists, Nazis, and then communists, and then there's going to be terrorists, and then there's going to, when they run out of these terrorists, they're going to have these aliens, and then, oh yeah, that's going to be the threat. What's the fucking, yeah, what's the evidence of that? Right? So they have no evidence. So you're telling me you're a senior officer, that is in this area, and you never thought to take out your phone and take a picture.
Well, so what that builds me into thinking of, controlled opposition, things of sorts, lead people down wrong rabbit holes, but then it builds into an entirely more complex human apparatus at work. I'm not a QAnon fan, but they get into these whole the subterranean warfare is to take out the child trafficking.
Well, sorry if I could say very quickly, like speaking of QAnon, that, you know, Isaac Cappy, they say that, you know, mind control, things like that. You mentioned earlier in this conversation about the what surprised you with respects to communicating via frequencies. Could you comment on anything regarding any equipment you may or may not have worked on pertaining to maybe not mind control, but very I guess frequentially oriented apparatuses?
So they have sound stuff that'll make you shit your pants. That's it.
Yeah.
Like when you say shit your pants, you mean like literally shit your pants?
He means shit your pants. Yeah. No, he literally means shit your pants. Yeah.
Oh, geez. Okay.
And like that's just what that frequency makes your
body. That's all it is.
You can't control it as a human. Like your bowels can't control it.
No, you can't. So so with the Q, oh god.
Well, let me finish my question. I know I hate what it really was, but the way, like, okay, you talked about, you know, if an AT actually walked in Hollow Point, that's the line of thinking builds into a deeper hidden human secrets than they want anyone to ever know, and these people might just be absolutely dastardly evil Denver airport things. Is there just not I mean, take it with a huge grain of salt, so there's no aliens under the Denver airport, so then what is the operations, or what is the operational function of this underground cave network? Why do we need to make sure things get moved without ever being seen? Go ahead.
Yeah, so it's like Disney World.
Yes, it's very, because they are very fucking weird under there too.
You don't see the food moving. You don't see the food coming in.
Yeah.
You don't see any of that stuff.
Right.
So that's all that it is.
Right.
You're moving around resources.
Right.
So
without resistance, even.
So the people don't see it. That's all that it is. It's there's not fucking reptilians on the Denver airport.
Right. Now, when you say that there are certain things with sound that could literally make you shit your pants, I'm not really looking for an answer here, because I don't mean to put you on the spot, but that's I'm presuming that's just the stuff you can talk about. I can't imagine.
Yeah, because we did a test with one of our vessels when I was in E6, and I had jumped to a different MOS, and I was going into port, and an Air Force security idiot was like, he goes, "Excuse me, sir, I need to see your ID. And I went, first of all, I'm a motherfucking staff sergeant. Don't fucking call me sir. Second of all, there's no ammo in that gun. Fuck you. I'm going to my boat. And it was
no, I love that. That's fantastic.
yeah, and it was because we were testing sonic weapons, and he was like,
"Oh shit,
well, I'm supposed to," and I was like, go fuck yourself.
Is there anything you've worked on that you can't comment, that you can't talk about, but you think could disable a UFO if pointed at it?
Not that I've worked on, but there is a system called Thor. And if you Google the Navy's Thor weapon, it is a directed EMP gun.
Got you. Okay. So if it now, just curious, and I'm inclined to agree with you in basically everything you're saying here about how secrets are kept and whatnot. What I'm trying to get at is, how do people like Mr. like Lou Elizondo, how do they know so much and yet they I guess you could say,
why are they allowed to talk, kind of thing?
yeah, and from your perspective, because again, we're civilians, you were in the army, from your side of things, why do you think they're allowed to come out? They've been designated to, they've been instructed?
No, so Lou was enlisted. He did, I think he did like 25 years in the army.
Okay.
20 some odd years in the army.
Right.
And then how it works is you do so many years in the military, you retire as an E9, and then you get a government job.
Right.
And if you have the security clearance and et cetera, especially if you're a counter intel agent,
right,
they're going to say, hey, depending on how much they like you, they're going to say, hey, you're going to take over this.
Right.
So I honestly, it as weird as it sounds, I honestly think they didn't fucking like him. Because I said, you're going to take over this UFO shit that the senator fucking made us do.
Yeah.
He gave us $22 million. Go to Skinwalker Ranch and do all this shit with Robert Bigelow. Whatever, just do that.
You think Lou has been privy to a lot of data though that could
oh, he's
got you. Now if the thing is this, like when you going back to before when you said about how like all these guys who go on to Reddit and generally speaking, I was in this and I saw, you know, I shot an alien or what have you, but they never took a picture or anything like that. Based on the stuff you've worked on that you cannot talk about, do you think, again, I'm not trying to just dismiss your view, I'm just trying to respectfully play devil's advocate, you think some type of frequency weapon could wipe short-term memory or something like this? I'm not saying in all cases, I'm sure there's many bullshitters and what have you, but the ones that really maybe saw things, do you think there's some that could be
maybe? And this is the thing, this is what I'm trying to figure out when I'm working on my investigations, is what is actually happening and how does all of this relate? Because I've seen, so I watched a video, it was completely uncut, 100%, 16 minutes and 45 seconds of uncut video of shit you cannot explain.
Can you comment on that further or no?
Yeah. Can you try to articulate unexplained?
It was actually on YouTube. It was Mindseed TV. So they did a paranormal investigation where it's from one point of view, uncut. And nobody is around. And chairs stack on a table.
Well, okay.
But again, oh, sorry.
No, I immediately chairs stack on a table. But we priorly in the conversation, we have a story about, you know, you 5 feet away. These people have been made not to be able to see you. So is there an explanation there in that video of well, this person was wearing that kind of camouflage. They were not made to be seen doing these things.
Right, but is a channel with like 1 million viewers really
Sure.
pulling that kind of? I mean,
Sure.
if those suits exist, they're $1 billion a piece.
Sort of like the Invisible Man movie type
Right.
idea, right? With using optics and all that stuff. Do you think that a lot of the top secret shit is it private industry, and it only a very few select individuals, like maybe the Joint Chiefs of Staff at the top, know the full picture? In your opinion?
No. So what I think is they don't know what the fuck is going on.
You don't think Milley has
okay.
and I'm genuinely asking, you don't think he has a rough idea just because of all the data and intelligence he gets and shit, or no?
No, because I don't think we understand physics properly.
That's a big piece of what I'm getting in.
You think, like, you look at Ben Rich from the former CEO of Lockheed Martin, head of Skunk Works division. He's been quoted saying there have been like equations left out for the public of like the public academia on purpose.
Right.
Do you think that's what's happening? Like purposeful gaps being left?
What I think is, and I've watched so many videos and I've watched so many things, and when I look at things that are raw videos,
Yeah,
that are not edited, they're 100% raw, and I look at them and I go, well, shit, that might be a real thing. That's kind of scary.
Okay.
So like we have issues, right? So we have look at the Native Americans.
right.
Bigfoot wasn't a fucking myth.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, like the way I know.
So these are people who know what grizzly bears look like. They know what black bears look like.
Yeah.
They have encountered all of these animals. They live in the fucking wild. They're not like you and me.
No, at all.
We live in houses.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
When was the last time you saw an alligator?
Well, not actually that long ago, but I live on a lake. So.
But you live in Florida, so
last time I've been to I live in Toronto, Canada, but last time I've been to Florida, handful of years ago, I've seen last time.
Yeah. So if you took away the modern accessories that we have, you would never see an alligator. And if somebody described an alligator to you, you would say that's fucking crazy.
Especially with where I live, if there was no internet, no nothing,
you would never know.
Yeah. There's no alligators here. Yes, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
So if somebody described to you a 14-foot lizard that lived in the water, you would say they were fucking crazy.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right. Is there anything, this kind of leads me mentally to the national parks thing, about how there's a lot of underground bases at the national parks, but also Bigfoot is seen there a lot too. Can you comment about national parks and underground bases? Allegedly, the complexes are larger there.
So what I will say, if you ever go into a national park and you're doing, especially the Appalachian Trail,
right?
Okay,
that's like, it takes like 3 months to walk,
right?
If you walk that without a gun, you're fucking stupid.
I'm listening. I hear you. I hear you.
Yeah, I hear you. I see what you're saying. And
you are stupid to walk that far in bear country, in unknown country. I have friends that have walked that, and they said if you walk that without a gun, you're an absolute fucking idiot.
Are you inferring to something?
When you say unknown, yeah.
What you say bear country.
I mean, it doesn't have to be bears. It doesn't have to be animals you can't you don't ever see.
Sorry, just to be clear, we're not trying to extract stuff out of you that you're not saying. We're just trying to understand. You said bears, you said animals, then you said unknown. I guess that's the part where you can't make a comment on, or.
No, like when I talk about unknown, I'm talking about what the Native Americans were talking about.
Right. Things that not crypto terrestrials, things that go bump in the night that we just don't really get to see or really perceive as normal.
I mean, these stories don't come out of nowhere.
Right. Especially when they keep coming and reoccurring.
And they're repetitive. And
Yeah.
even the Thunderbird, we have archaeological evidence of massive birds from like 10,000 years ago. So,
right.
and we've recently discovered that Native Americans have been here longer than we thought they were. Right. So these stories have passed on longer than we thought they have.
Right.
And so somebody eventually at one point encountered probably like a 14-foot wide bird.
Right.
Yeah.
That grabbed a baby. And they were just like, oh, that's a Thunderbird. And that story, it only has to happen once.
And then,
do you, when you, sorry, it's sort of a two-part question, but speaking of footage and all that, when you look, for example, you're scrolling through Reddit, you're scrolling through whatever, and you see some alleged UFO footage, based on being at White Sands and in general, could you usually tell without looking at the metadata, like, okay, this is bullshit, this is real, or has the CGI gotten that good in your opinion?
No, I instantly know when it's fake.
Okay. Because that is a real concern there, because these deep fake texts are getting very good. Most of them still discernible.
Would you hypothetically be able to discern from a real TR-3B and a fake one?
Well, they're all fake.
Really? So even
there is no real TR-3B.
Well, see, that's what I think.
It's a.
I get what you're getting at.
Disinformation campaign.
Right. Yeah. Because what is Lou Elizondo? We said again, counterintelligence. Well, now he's in the public. He knows how to do counterintelligence.
So before Lou Elizondo, the real counterintelligence was the X-Files.
I got that. I freaking had a feeling. Sorry, not that I knew that. I mean, like I understand what you're saying. So sorry, any triangle craft that are seen in person, you would say, when not that it's bullshit, it's just that it's not American or human.
Right. So Stephen Greer kind of like tipped the horn to this in his last little the expose that he did.
I saw that. Yeah.
And I did a little video on it, and he was talking about how, like, if you see pipes, it's man-made.
I wanted to ask you about that. He was saying it's like it's a psyop, so that people think, oh, they get scared, it's humid. Yeah, what do you think of that?
So he's absolutely full of shit.
There's been a lot of people. Yeah, there's a little.
So we cannot replicate this, and the reason we can't replicate this is we cannot negate standard physics.
Because our physics is not complete. That's really what you were getting at earlier. Our physics is told to us wrong.
So what do you make of, again, even me on the show personally, I don't like to delve into anything past the last 110 years, because once you get past there, it's very hard. It's already hard to discern what the fuck happened yesterday. You know what I'm saying? So when you hear these stories of Eisenhower signing these deals with these ETs, and you hear of, reverse engineering and, anti-gravity being maybe not mastered, but understood by humans, do you believe that, or do you think it's still kept to a small group of individuals?
I think it is a small group of people might have contact with them.
Okay.
Maybe. Or they think they do.
Yeah. Okay. Wizard of Oz kind of thing.
And then they're kind of trying to build off that.
Even in some cases pretending to know what they really don't know, but trying to make that public.
Right.
As an okay, I got you. So holy crap.
Okay, I mean, getting into the last bit of questions here then.
Sorry, if you have to, we've been on for a while. I'm not sure if you want to wrap it up in a bit.
I'm good.
Sure. You're good? Okay, cool. Camden, please.
The real question becomes then, so you, while saying these are any TR-3B video fake as shit, but then you are still saying yourself, we see these unidentified flying objects. So then what is out there controlling them, maneuvering them, creating them and building them. What is all that? Like what is your theory?
Yeah. So here's what I'll ask you.
Huh?
Here's what I'll ask you.
Yeah.
Why would Elon Musk and NASA and the government spend billions of dollars to figure out how to land a rocket upright if they had a TR-3B?
I know. No, I agree.
Okay, now here's the thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
To play devil's advocate, the rebuttal to that would be not saying that I believe this or anything like that, but the rebuttal by those on the other side of UFO Twitter, you've seen quite the back and forth. The rebuttal will be, well, a lot of that is going towards it, but a chunk of it is also money, is just to funnel money to the secret space program. What do you?
Right.
I know that's a broad simplification.
It is.
But
it is. So how many trillions of dollars could you make if you could replace every single airplane in the world?
Oh, just stupid amounts of money. If
you made something that was better than, safer than, yeah.
So imagine you make a TR-3B.
Yeah.
Why would they not go make money off it?
Boeing makes a TR-3B, and you can throw 70 or 80 passengers on it, and you can get 2,000 miles in 5 seconds or whatever. Why haven't you done it?
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. Absolutely.
Why haven't you come out with this technology? Because if you have that technology, you can make so much money over Airbus and everybody else.
Absolutely.
There's a couple things I'd like to respectfully get your take on. Is that we look at, I'm not sure how seriously you take the Admiral Wilson and Dr. Eris Davis documents, but
the Davis Wilson documents.
Correct. Yeah. Davis said recently on the Green Street, the Mr. Green Street on that podcast, I don't know if this was the part that was deleted that people kept leaking on Twitter or not, but he was saying there's no, I mean, there's obviously the part where he's like, can't comment on that, can't come, blah, blah, blah. Right. But he goes, there's no way for policymakers to institute this because it's so out of this world. What do you think that's a disinformation sort of rebuttal, or like, and I'm genuinely asking, I'm not trying to put you in a corner. I'm really enjoying this conversation, and I'm curious. Yeah.
No, I think policymakers, what you have to understand about congressmen and representatives and everything is they're fucking dumb.
Yeah, they're stupid. Yeah.
They don't know science.
Right.
They only know what they're told.
Right.
They're people who have managed to get enough people to say, yeah, you have a great idea. I like what you're promoting.
Right.
They're not scientists. Most of them are lawyers.
Yeah.
So they don't even know how to implement it.
Yeah, most lawyers are fucking assholes.
They just use fancy English words to get what they want.
Yeah. So you can throw all the science you want at these people, and they're just gonna go, well, if you say that, yeah, okay.
So then what do you think of Mr. Christopher Mellon when these congressmen in the classified UAP report off the record saying it was like 40 minutes of of watching a sci-fi
movie?
Yeah. Disinfo?
No. I'm not dumb enough to talk against Mellon.
Oh, I didn't mean to.
Okay.
No,
I know what you're saying.
Truthfully, I didn't even know you were gonna say that. I didn't expect that. Wow. Okay.
No.
Then,
he is a person who, if he,
you don't want to. I'm getting the you don't want to fuck with him vibe.
Yeah,
that's what I'm getting. This is just to confirm? We're talking about the same Mellon that's been on Joe Rogan, the whole thing.
Yep.
Do you think that these leaked slides were not a leak so much as part of an agenda?
I think I am very much looking forward to the National Defense Authorization Act passing, because it creates a large permanent UAP presence for the Secretary of Defense, and somebody in there is going to leak documents.
You think Mellon knows if there is a secret space program? You think someone in his position would be the one to know?
If there's a secret space program, I would literally eat, and I hate pineapple on pizza. If there's a secret space program, I will eat a fucking pineapple on pizza with fucking mango on it.
Right.
The only reason why I ask, brothers, is I really appreciate and respect your everything, your service, you coming on the show and all that. I just wonder what you make of the alleged photographs of craft motherships being seen near the sun, leaked NASA images. People nowadays with those digital telescopes, you can see craft going in and out of the craters of the moon. I just wonder what you think of that. Yeah.
So all that shit, like the stuff that has been captured by NASA,
right?
I think is 100% real.
It doesn't mean it's secret space program. I know that.
No, I don't believe it's secret space program at all. I think it's shit that they've seen and they've been like, oh, we need to blur this out.
Right.
But
that gets to what I was asking earlier. And no, it's not humans able to do any of this shit. Maybe they don't understand any of it, but then what is it? You could go.
I just wonder if, I don't mean to throw too many things at you, brother. I just wonder if Mr. Christopher Mellon is kind of wink, nudging Mr. Lou Elizondo as to what he can and cannot say.
Maybe. I mean, I think we live in a world on the outskirts of a galaxy that happens to have an intelligent species, several intelligent species, because
in the backyard.
Yeah, I mean, my dog.
Yeah.
I come out of my bedroom and my dog recognizes me. She loves me, everything else. We have seen in nature on Earth several species that mourn.
Right.
What I think we need to do is I think we need to take a step back and look at what we consider intelligent species. Crows have self-awareness.
Yeah.
Right.
Crows have murder investigations.
Wow.
You're right. Absolutely.
The animals on this planet that exhibit intelligence beyond what we are willing to accept is insane.
Things I point to, the dolphin is one that has remarkable intelligence. Another one that is just like, in my personal opinion, that shit's an alien. An octopus. That they almost make no sense.
They don't.
So when we then decide, okay, well, my next question would be, you talked about, the things NASA has pictures of that are like, what the fuck? So is it not? I mean, it's a huge jump all the way to that thing at the sun, but an octopus is a kind of thing that has full capability of building, making, and using that in space. Kind of thing is where we're really getting at.
Yeah, but here's the thing, right? So there are documented cases of divers who have developed relationships with octopuses.
Yes, absolutely.
And it's not just octopuses, it's sharks, it's other animals.
Right. It's that intuition, that connection.
Yes.
Right.
So it's crazy. Like, if you actually think about it, if you think about Earth if you pull away from your ego,
Right. Yep.
you have to pull away from your ego. We have a relationship with so many animals. And this is where the Native Americans were right.
Right. I'm with you.
They had a relationship with every single creature they encountered.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
And there's literally, it's, oh man, it's crazy, because you have people who can, like, exist with pumas.
Yep.
Yeah.
People who can exist with bears.
Yep.
People who could exist with otters and whatever, and it's so crazy.
Man, it's I couldn't agree more. And interestingly enough, this intuitive part, this mental part, the spiritual part is the stuff, energetic part is the stuff that Lou wouldn't speak on, because it's interesting. It's almost like what the one thing I get when these former Russian generals come out, and Lou and all these other guys around the world, is that they refuse to comment on the details of how to energetically or telepathically communicate, because again, if they said details, it'd probably be like the average person could do it, right? That's yeah. But the thing, one last thing I wanted to say is thank you so much for coming on. I don't know if Camden had any more questions. Okay, so one more question, then we'll wrap this up.
All right.
In the name of communication and things, a good story of pointing to is like the Tower of Babel. The Bible says that
very familiar.
All beings understood each other, and then the Tower of Babel fell, and we all spoke different tongues. So kind of then you get into the world we're in now. If we're no longer able to communicate with these things that we have relationships with, that we could then, through all of this conversation, speculate, well, maybe we used to be able to. Why have humans taken domain the way they have on this planet?
Right. So I'll tell you this. Camden, look up the Caucasian Japanese.
Okay. Well, I'm doing it right now.
All right, this is going to be good.
Well, I know. I'm actually, I know. I hope so. There it is. So,
you're going to like this.
Okay. The first thing.
Okay. And because it talks about a migration there, now I get into a Ainu people, AINU. Is this a good click? Okay.
The Jamon people. They interacted with the population that were already present in Japan.
What population is the question?
Am I missing something? Am I not seeing? Did they?
No, you're on.
The question
no.
is,
I think I get what he's getting at. Yeah, no. This is a good paradigm shift, right? We love this. But
you see what I'm talking about?
Yes, I do, and
it fucks you up, right?
I'm trying to reincorporate it, I guess, is now what my brain's doing, right?
So there was a tribe of Caucasian Japanese up in the mountains.
A Caucasoid group. There are several studies that suggest a Caucasoid group migrated into Japan.
And then we go back to the moon phase coming out of the Appalachian mountains, much like them in the mountains. This is pointing to I'll just jump. Getting into a hollow earth kind of thing.
It's weird, right?
Where well, shit, maybe white people really do just like came out of the ground and started taking everyone's shit kind of thing.
Out of the cracks.
Yeah. I mean, it really then I get to draw connections all the way back to you said, no, we didn't have boring machines. These were here. There's an infrastructure of the earth that does not make sense. I absolutely agree. What would be the purpose? What would be the purpose in this manipulation of a worldview then? Why would you get what I'm getting at?
Yeah.
What does this help?
What I'm bringing up is we don't know. We don't know.
We're
Right.
the aliens.
I mean, I just blew your minds.
No, I love it. I absolutely love it.
Yeah.
Because they just have to keep reading. I'll never stop. And then we get into Russia because we have the Siberia up there has got its own set of mountain ranges. There is.
I mean, think about it.
I'm with you.
Actually, think about it. So if you go back to the general practitioner is everybody originated from Africa. Explain Asians. Explain white people.
White people out of the Nordics. Explain.
Yes. And you can't do it without evolution. And even when you include evolution, Asians really get weird with evolution.
Because I mean, there's I don't like Darwinism necessarily, but I guess way back, a survival of the fittest makes more sense. Evolution breeds traits that help survival. So when we then go talk about Asians and different places on the Earth's different traits, what made the way these different groups of people adapted, what made them more survivable?
And that's what I want to know.
I get you. I do.
I want to know why. Being shorter. I want to know all of it. I don't want all the little things that define
different races.
Everybody. Yes. I want to know why those made you excel in that environment.
That's a very, very good point. Yeah.
That's what I want to know.
I'm with you.
That's quite, Well, I mean, if I could be totally truthful, if you're interested, if you'd like to come back on next week or the week after to tackle that with us, I mean, just to work together, and if you'd be interested 100%, because this is a whole other rabbit hole. I mean, I don't know about you, it's almost midnight where I am, and we've been going for just over 2 hours, but I mean, that's a strong point to leave off on.
That's amazing.
Brother.
See, I didn't even realize it because it's just it's blast. Anyways,
but yeah, I think, man, thank you so much. Did you want to let the audience know where they could find you, or you're not into that stuff?
No, yeah, you can find me on BOTT Water on Twitter, and you can find my YouTube off of my Twitter.
Awesome.
So, yeah, absolutely.
Brother, thank you so much for coming on. Thank you for even being willing to come on and for answering to the best of your ability. Honestly, this is probably one of the best interviews you've ever done. Could not be more grateful.
Hey, thanks for letting me on.
I mean, now I want to do some alien sign off, but like,
oh yeah,
live long and prosper or something.
All right. Cheers, brother.
Yeah.
Cheers.